Sorry everybody, it's Xilicks here, and welcome to week 2 of the PBAL. I'd like to apologize for not having a team builder yesterday, as I have been very busy this week with traveling and a multitude of other things. So I am just going to quickly recap my team, and then also we're not doing this live again. I was just super busy, didn't have time to record while the battle was going on. But I'm going to do the post commentary now, and really fast first, let's go over the teams. So the first thing I have is the Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl is going to be the fastest thing on the field, barring a Choice Scarfer. Then we have Choice Scarfed Infernape, which is just faster than Mega Manectric. We have Choice Specs Raichu, designed to be able to get a lot of KOs this match. We have a very specially defensive Tangrowth, a Choice Banded Metagross, and then a physically defensive Sylveon. Now, looking at his team, he brought the exact opposite of what I was expecting. I thought that maybe we would see the Marowak, as otherwise he didn't have a very reliable switch-in to the Raichu outside of Serena, but I thought Serena was going to be the more likely option of the two, just because Serena is able to take hits from the Zygarde as well, whereas the Marowak is not able to take hits from the Zygarde, but instead he opted for the Marowak because Marowak is also able to take hits from both Metagross and Infernape. Now this severely hurts me overall that he brought this, because I obviously have the Infernape and the Metagross instead of the Zygarde. So he made the correct call while team building, while I did not. I also feared that he may bring the Meloetta over the Latios. I prepared for Latios, I didn't really prepare for Meloetta, and again he made that call that I got wrong as well. I wasn't expecting Cryogonal, he brought Cryogonal. I wasn't expecting the Swampert, I was instead expecting the Celesteela, he brought the Swampert. So originally the Raichu, which would have been very effective in this matchup versus a Celesteela and a Suicune, is now going off against a Swampert and an Alolan Marowak that's most likely a Lightning Rod. So without any further ado, let's get into this battle. So right away, I was already pretty worried I was going to lose by a large margin just because of what we were going up against. And I was like, okay, I'm pretty good to lead with Aerodactyl, because I was actually expecting his Marowak to lead in the event that potentially he thought I may lead with either Infernape or Raichu, because they're both really fast and they can either U-turn or Volt Switch out of there. But instead, I did lead with this, and I wasn't expecting him to stay in, so I went for the Pursuit to try to get a lot of damage. But here he reveals he's incredibly defensive and he goes for the Will-O-Wisp. Now, if I just outright Stone Edge there versus an offensive build, it guarantee knocks out. But I wasn't really expecting him to be offensive, and I imagined he would live a Stone Edge, so I would have rather gone for the Pursuit. And then here, I go for the Stone Edge because I thought, you know, maybe because I'm burned, he might stay in. I don't know, but of course he switches out this turn. And I've unfortunately, this entire game, I knew what he was going to do every single turn, but I never acted on it. So right here, I go out into Tangrowth as he goes for the Ice Punch. Now, Ice Punch is such a safe play because it hits Aerodactyl, it hits this thing, and obviously Aerodactyl cannot touch a Swampert while it's burned. And it's so obvious that he's going to switch here. I know he's going into the Manectric, but for whatever reason I click Knockoff, because I don't know. I don't know why I clicked Knockoff, because I could have, if I went for the Earthquake there without the Intimidate, it does, I think, like 40 to 60%. Sorry, without the Intimidate, I think it's 50-60. With the Intimidate, it's somewhere in the 40 range. But then I go for the Earthquake this turn instead of the Giga Drain. Earthquake does a little bit more than Giga Drain, but obviously Giga Drain would have brought my health back to a reasonable amount. And with the special attack drop, it could have put us in a good position because he can't really like Volt Switch at that range. But this thing's pretty low, which is at least a good thing. And then he's going to Hard Switch here instead of Volt Switching into his Marowak. And I believe, yeah, I Hard Switch. So I could have double Earthquake there, and this Marowak would be in a tough spot. But instead, I go into my Raichu, because if he goes for the overheat, it does nothing because the special attack drop. And if he goes for a volt switch or any other electric move, we obviously eat that up and get the boost. Now, he's going to take this opportunity to get up his rocks, which is fine as I go into my Sylveon. And I can't touch this thing with Sylveon. I don't have the Shadow Ball. All I can really do is just sit here and click Wish a bunch of times and see what he's going to try to do. I believe this does give me the opportunity to set up a Heal Bell, which I think I do to cleanse my... Yeah, I do Heal Bell to get rid of the burn on the Mega Aerodactyl, which is really going to be our only way of killing this thing. And he's going to reveal he has the Fire Punch, not the Flare Blitz. Now, this makes me feel a little bit better about this thing, because Flare Blitz did a number on our team where Fire Punch from a defensive set, we can deal with that just fine. So that is a good thing to hear. Now, since he's not healing, I'm just hyper voicing because he has no Wish support on his team. So getting damage off on this is permanent, and the more in range I can put it from potentially Aerodactyl or really anything else, the better. So that thing's getting weakened, and then he goes into the Meloetta as I go for the Protect. I very easily could have hyper voiced here again. I think I should have, but I didn't because I'm dumb. And then now I'm forced into my Metagross just because it's the only thing that can take a hit. And I imagine he's going to go for a Shadow Ball or set up a Calm Mind or go for the Substitute. And here is where I make a pretty heavy misplay. As he Shadow Balls, I go for the Pursuit. I should have Bullet Punched because Bullet Punch breaks the sub, and then I also get this next turn here to do damage to him. Now granted, that could have allowed him to set up another Substitute, but he wouldn't have been able to set up a Calm Mind, so I could have gone into the Sylveon and started clicking Hyper Voice to hit past the Substitute if I needed to. But alas, Substitute is broken at the very least, and he's taken some amount of damage from the Substitute. He's taken the 25%. So I go into Infernape going for a U-turn. I was expecting him to switch because a Flare Blitz would have killed. He doesn't switch. So another thing on top of this battle is I was predicting him correctly, but I was trying to make more safe plays because I didn't want to start making predictions and then lose the game because of that. I felt I was in a position where any prediction I made could potentially cost me the game. And then he goes for a Calm Mind here. Now this, again, I could have gone for Hyper Voice to potentially... I don't think it would have knocked this thing out with the +1 SpDef. But now that he has the +1 SpDef, it puts me in a really bad spot because I can't really do anything. I can't switch into anything. I can't just protect in the event that he goes for more Calm Minds. So I'm forced to let Sylveon go down and bring in my Aerodactyl to go for the Pursuit. And naturally, he's carrying the Colbur Berry, because if anything else could have gone this week in preparation, it was this thing carrying Colbur Berry. Now, obviously, I should have gone into the Infernape and clicked the U-turn, but I wanted to go into the Aerodactyl because if he didn't have the Colbur Berry, I get the guaranteed kill on this thing, so he can't use it anymore, which is what I would have wanted, and I would have been at high enough HP so that this game would have been very different if that Colbur Berry wasn't there. Let's just put it at that. But at this point, I've already lost because I lost at the team builder. Like, that's just how it is sometimes. I was expecting him to bring 6 Mons, and he brought like 2 out of those 6 that I was expecting. There's not much you can do about that. This Infernape is basically useless at this point because I don't have Earthquake or anything like that, so I'm forced to just Flare Blitz this thing, which doesn't do any damage. And then I switch out here mainly just because the game was already over, so I kind of just let it happen. I probably should have just stayed in and clicked Fire Blitz again in the event that I get some kind of roll that knocks this thing out. But he's not even going to risk me getting the chance of knocking this out. I think he just goes hard Suicune. No, he stays in. But this doesn't knock it out, from what I remember. Yeah. So it wouldn't have mattered even if I did stay in, because he's just going to take this opportunity to knock me out. And then my Raichu literally cannot touch this thing because my set is Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Focus Blast, and Grass Knot. And I'm Choice Spexed. So my only play is Grass Knot, I believe, because it's the only thing that can actually hit all of his team members without reaching an immunity. And obviously a Grass Knot is going to do nothing to the special defensive monster that is Cryogonal. Granted, that actually did a fair amount of damage compared to what I thought it would do, mainly just because those specs coming through. But obviously it's not going to be enough. And if we lived in a world where it was enough, then the Manectric just comes in and clicks Overheat anyways, and I would need it to miss, and I would have to like get a crit or something. Basically, the point is, the match was lost before it started, and sometimes that just happens. Very unfortunate. Again, apologies for not doing the live recording and not having the team builder. I barely even got this video recorded on time. So with that, I will see you guys next time. My name is Xilicks. Make sure to go check out Aaron down below in the description. Okay, thanks, bye.